We all know Nietzsche by now. He's the man who says some weird stuff. But some of the stuff he says is weirder than others, and this statement here is a case in point. Through it, Nietzsche casually undermines the entire depth and profundity we commonly ascribe to mystical explanations, saying they fail in providing us with even a superficial understanding of the world they aim to address, let alone some splendid account or answer. And we have a tough task ahead to dissect what he meant by that. So let's begin. The phrase mystical explanations likely refers to beliefs, narratives, or interpretations grounded in higher worlds or supernatural realms, and which are beyond the reach of empirical or rational inquiry. One famous example is the concept of karma, as encountered in Eastern philosophies and creeds. According to this mystical concept, the events one faces in their present life are but consequences of actions performed in past lives. Do good, and you'll receive good. Do bad, and God be with you. But this connection between actions in previous lives and current life events lacks any solid empirical grounding and falls outside the scope of verification, thus rendering it a mystical or metaphysical explanation. It just cannot be proved. And this is precisely where Nietzsche's skepticism is directed. Not only, he firmly states, do mystical explanations not provide any adequate answers to life's pressing questions, they don't even begin to address them. Theology, psychology, biology, culture, sociology, history. This one single statement penetrates into all. In the field of religious inquiry, Nietzsche's critique is exemplified via the concept of original sin. The mystical explanation of the inherent sinful nature of each person due to the disobedience of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden forms the foundation of the Christian doctrine. Many take this idea to be a guaranteed, untouchable truth. But is it so? On what is it based? And what are the implications of rejecting it, far-reaching as they'd probably be? For people practicing different religions, the original sin concept is probably not part of their religious canon. Their account of how the world works is not underpinned by it. And what's the consequence of that? They don't feel the overbearing guilt and shame traditional Christians typically feel just for existing. Now, what does this tell us? Could it possibly tell us that original sin is not part of the fabric of the universe, but only an idea made vivid by those who subscribe to its founding religion? If original sin did exist, then all would be bound to feel an insatiable guilt forever resonating in them. But is that what happens, particularly in people of differing faiths? Nietzsche thus encourages us to engage in thoughtful reflection. He prompts us to delve into the intricacies of theology, examining whether they genuinely contribute to a deeper understanding of human existence or if they are just mere dogma. A great deal of societal traditions across the millennia, too, have been built on the pillars of unfounded mystical explanations. The caste system in India is one such instance. The caste system, deeply rooted in mystical beliefs about cosmic order and divine hierarchy, has historically structured Indian society. The Brahmins, believed to be born from the mouth of the cosmic being, were assigned the highest caste, while the Dalits, considered to be born from the feet, were relegated to the lowest. Peering through Nietzsche's lens, it gets revealed to us the power dynamics inherent in this mystical explanation. The supposed depth of the cosmic order, Nietzsche would argue, serves to legitimize social inequality, and not to provide an actual coherent account of how the world is made and ordered. The mystical narrative provides an ideological foundation that perpetuates a rigid social structure. Think about it. Are people who are assigned to the highest castes actually holy? Are the ones assigned to the lowest actually unholy? Let's draw another illustration from another part of the world, ancient Greece. Consider the mythology of Prometheus. According to the age-long tale, Prometheus, a mythical figure, challenges divine order by stealing fire from the gods and bestowing it upon humanity. From this fire, all the fruits of the world emerge, from the technological to the intellectual. This seemingly straightforward act of stealing unfolds into a profound mythology that extends beyond its surface narrative. It becomes a full-on vessel for conveying morality concerning human ambitions, defiance, and the pursuit of knowledge. Taking once more Nietzsche's lens, we can see yet again that this does not go on explaining the true nature of the world, but rather provides a comforting mechanism that situates us in it. The implications of Nietzsche's claim become apparent as we reflect on the moral dimensions embedded in the Prometheus myth. The act of rebellion against divine authority is not condemned but celebrated for its contribution to human progress. Thus, the mystical narrative becomes a way for expressing the tension between the established order and the human desire for autonomy. As a symbol, one can see, it's spectacular, highly powerful. As a bona fide reality, though, it's probably a bit far off. It would take a seeker no more than a second to encounter a dozen different historical cases that exhibit how mystical explanations shape societies and conflicts. Let's take the infamous Crusades as our go-to. The Crusades, a series of religious wars spanning many centuries, present a complex episode intimately tied to a mystical narrative rooted in religious passion. Driven by this narrative, the Crusades offered salvation to those undertaking the quest to reclaim Jerusalem from perceived heretics. Because it was firmly believed that if people did not obey the divine commandment, they'd have the wrath and reckoning of the Lord fall upon them, large-scale violence ensued. Them who rebelled were scorched at the stake. This mix of religious passion with geopolitical ambitions not only mobilized entire populations, but also supplied a moral basis for military violence. Moreover, the Crusades underscore the influence of mystical explanations on collective consciousness and historical memory. The after effects of these religiously motivated conflicts ripple through time, shaping cultures, religions, and even contemporary geopolitical tensions. Who is to say that we're not operating through them right now? And to think that all the time we spent here just barely scratched the surface. But I'll have to leave you now. Before I go, however, let me remind you about two things. The first, remember that Nietzsche was a weird man. And second, whenever you feel tempted to label a real-life event with mystical reasons, just remember what we talked about here. No need to deny, no need to affirm, just to reconsider.